Lord, someone, praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In today's video, it's going to be a short one. I'm going to go over another piece of artifact, or so-called piece of artifact that other Israelite camps like to try to utilize to validate either the 12 tribe chart or to try to validate the Hispanics and Native Americans are Israelites, and as well as other Israelites who are also trying to insinuate that the Holy Land is located here in the Americas, whether in Utah or Peru. So I'm going to go over the Back Creek inscription that certain entities like to try to utilize to validate their claims. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article right now, and it's on ohiohistory.org, and it says additional digging uncovers source of Backcrete hoax. Okay, and it says that the following article originally appeared in the Columbus Dispatch on December 14, 2004. It is no longer available on the Dispatch website, so I am going to be publishing it here. There is growing interest in artifacts such as the Backcrete Stone and the New York Delicate Stone due to the popularity of cable television programs that offers sensationalized views of archaeology in America's ancient past. So it's important to make the scientific perspective on these objects widely accessible. The Backcrete Stone is a small stone tablet engraved with several apparently alphabetic characters found during excavation of a small mound in 1899 near Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay. Initially, the inscription was thought to be in the Cherokee alphabet, invented by sicarri around 1821. J. Hudson McCulloch, an Ohio State University economic professor, dashed this interpretation when he obtained a radiocarbon date of AD 427 for the mound and found that the inscription was written not in Cherokee but in form of Hebrew. So I'm going to continue to read. And it says he concluded in a 1933 essay in the Biblical Archaeology Review that at least a few Hebrew settlers must have made their way to eastern North America more than 500 years before Leif Erikson. And you know what, though the camps are also making the exact same claim when they read the book of Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, that the Northern Kingdom or the Hispanics and Native Americans of Indian descent pretty much sailed from West Asia and the Levant region all the way to the Americas, North, Central, and South America, and then allegedly brought all these different artifacts with them, whether it's the Back Creek inscription, the New York inscriptions, whether it's the Los Lunas inscription, and I already did a video last time to show you guys that the Los Lunas inscription is also a forgery. You can also check it out on my page. So I'm going to continue to read. So it says, however, I'm I'm going to start again. It says he concluded in a 1933 essay in the Biblical Archaeology Review that at least a few Hebrew settlers, that's why he put it in parentheses, must have made their way to eastern North America more than 500 years before Leif Erikson. Archaeologists and historians, however, have rejected the Backcrete Stone as fake. Kyle McCarter Jr., a professor of Near Eastern Studies at Johns Hopkins University, wrote in a response to Mickle's article that the history of the Backcrete Stone belongs not to some 5th century Israelites, Odyssey, but to the melodrama of American archaeology in the 19th century. So this is a 19th century piece of artifact. It is not a piece of artifact of the ancient Israelites. And like I was saying before, we also do research. You're going to find out that the alphabet of the Israelites, of our ancestors, you can find out in the Buddha Great tablets. is where you can find our alphabet, okay? But this piece of writing over here is also called a Canaanite form of writing, which is not our alphabet. But that's a whole other topic. Robert Manford and Mary Quast, two archaeologists with the University of Arkansas, announced in the current issues of American Antiquity that they have found conclusive proof of the Bakri stone was one of forgery. Okay, and they identified the source of the fraud. The next of the inscription appears as an illustration in the General History of Encyclopedia and Dictionary of Freemasonry, published in 1870. John Emmer, the excavator of the Bakri mound, was something of a ne'er-do-well who once had been fired from the Smithsonian for drinking problems. He or an accomplice must have copied the inscription from a Masonic encyclopedia onto the slab. So this piece of so-called artifact is actually an inscription from a Masonic encyclopedia. It's not legit. Number one, it does not belong to the Native Americans of North, South, Central America, which then pretended to discover in their excavation. And you also have a conversation with the Native Americans in general. They will tell you straight up that they're not the descendants of the lost 10 tribes of the nation of Israel. You can have a conversation with any of them on the reservation, and they will literally tell you that out of their own mouth. That's how you know that all these camps out there, they're just teaching a bunch of bullshit and a bunch of nonsense about the 12 tribe chart. Yet they also try to insinuate that the natives and Hispanics are also Israelites. You even have a lot of Native Americans coming out right now saying that they're not the Israelites. You need to leave us alone and stop trying to incorporate us into your culture or into the Israelite way of life. So it says Emmert might have been trying to impress his boss, you see, with a marvelous discovery. Or he might have been trying to get revenge for being fired. All these different, you're going to find out that a lot of these so-called artifacts that they found in pre-Columbus, all throughout North, South, Central America, a lot of them are forgeries. A lot of them are fake. And especially, in particular, the ones that they try to allude to the quote-unquote so-called Northern Kingdom of Israel. A lot of these are fake, and a lot of these have been debunked many, many, many years ago. And like I said on my previous video, if any of these camps out there, or any of these Israelites who believe that Peru is the Holy Land, or Utah is the Holy Land, want to present all these different informations in academic world, they're going to be making mockery of you. They're going to make mockery of a lot of you out there. And that's real talk, man. Even though you read all these different books that are written, such as the history of the Native Americans by James Adair, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, they all can be traced back to Thomas Thorwald's book. Because he wrote a book, I forgot the name of the book, I have that book, but he was the one who started perpetrating this lie that the Native Americans were Israelites throughout North Central and South America. And it was somebody else who also wrote a book. It was around the 17th century. He also wrote a book to debunk this whole thesis. So what these camps are doing is they are using outdated information. You're using outdated data. Okay? Because the quote unquote, the elders or the seven heads of one was back in the days who brought forth those information. And I think more than likely it was either Chief High Priest of Shire and Kazakh who brought out all these different books, such as Lost Tribes and Promised Land and the History of the Native Americans by James Adair, to try to make a point. They should have did more research back then. You see that? So it says that the Bakri stone was accepted as authentic and appeared in the Smithsonian's final report on the mounds, ironically. This report finally established that the mound builders were Native Americans, not some lost tribe from the old world, because the Native Americans are not from Israel. They're not from West Asia. They're not from the Middle East or the Levant region. Richard Lewontin, in writings In the November 18th New York Review of Books mixed the disturbing claim that we do not know how often scientific fraud occurs, nor can we ever know. But the historical detective work of Manfort Inquiries has exposed the famous hoax and has shed light on a fascinating chapter of American archaeology, brow leopard. So the Back Creek stone over here, as you can see on the screen, is a hoax. It's a false piece of artifact that cannot be substantiated, which also further proves that Hispanics and Native Americans are not Israelites. And like I was also saying in my last video, what really destroys this whole notion, even if you don't go to all these different books and all these different articles, or even if you don't want to go with the scriptures to totally cut this nonsense, you just go straight to what DNA. Let me tell you something about these fucking camps out there. And most Israelites in general, they don't want to deal with DNA. And the reason why they don't want to deal with DNA is simply because it will destroy all their fucking lives. Period. It will destroy all of their goddamn lives. The DNA totally destroys lives. You're gonna find out that Hispanics and Native American Indians, they do not have the same Y genetic marker or DNA marker as us, the Israelites, who carry the E1B1A marker. Okay? They don't carry the same one. The majority of Hispanics carry, the majority of Hispanic men, I should probably say, they carry some type of European Y DNA marker. It could be the R, it could be the I, the G, or it could be the J. And the rest of them carry the Q or the C, which will be the quote unquote Native American Y DNA genetic marker, which they carry the exact same ones as the Eskimos or the people in Mongolia and Siberia. You see, you can cut that so easily with DNA. DNA totally destroys that lie. But I just want to go on some of those quote unquote pieces of artifacts that some of these camps, and as well as other Israelites who believe that the Holy Land is either located in Peru or on the west coast of the United States, Mexico, or Central America, or Peru, to show that a lot of these different artifacts are fake and all of them are hoaxes. So I'm going to end this video presentation right now. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.